Hey Haunter, Squash here for another episode of Nigel Thornberry gets transported to another world while learning the switch axe to commit animal abuse part 7. Last episode we entered high rank, and with that we need to raise our hunter rank to 15. So the plan is simple farm starting high rank armor set. And without a doubt, we are going Dashaguma again for that sweet, juicy, free meal. I wish that works in real life, wear a hat and pants and you get a free meal. So gear check. All in all we have Fire Attack 2, Power Prolonger 2, Critical Eye 1, Agitator 3, Divine Blessing, Recovery Up, and Free Meal Level 3. Speed Eating, Adaptability Level 2. Seems reasonable, right? Anyways, we farmed like a lot to get the set, and now we start the Frenzy quest line at HR 15. But you already know how I beat a Nursula, so skip please.
Skip! Would you like skip? I have an exact skip!
After frying a spider, we raise our rank to HR 20, so farm another random monster. Now we fight baby arm T-Rex. Guardian Fulgur Anjanath is what happens when a thunderstorm grows legs, takes a hit of pre-workout, and decides anger is its only hobby. This is not just a dinosaur with electric attacks. This is a creature whose roar has its own Wi-Fi. And what do you bring to the prehistoric rave lizard who thinks he's Zeus with scales? The switch axe. Because bringing anything else would be like bringing a flute to a building demolition. Fulgur Anjanath doesn't just charge at you. He announces himself like a meteor in a tuxedo. The moment he spots you, the air pressure drops, your Palico starts praying in 4 languages, and your health bar already takes psychic damage. And then you unsheathe the switch axe, and suddenly you're not a hunter anymore, you're a problem with legs. He breathes lightning. That's adorable. You breathe file explosions, and that's just breakfast. He tries the classic Fulgur roar, the sound of a jet engine eating a blender. But you're already in axe mode, rolling into his kneecaps like a disrespectful shopping cart. You don't flinch. You rotate into sword mode mid-roar, and now it's your turn to make some noise. Fulgur tail whips like he's trying to sweep your existence off the map, but you slide under it like you're dodging taxes, and then plant a charged overhead slash right into his hamstring. The hit lands so hard, a Jagra's 40 yards away files for early retirement. He gets mad, really mad. The air around him turns electric. Static pops off his snout like someone jammed a Tesla coil into a T-Rex. He thinks this is his final form. But you're in sword mode now, and you've got files to spend and trauma to deliver. You hit him with a 0-sum discharge. He rears up. You hold tight. He flails like a toaster in a bathtub. You detonate that file chain mid-roar, and suddenly he needs a potion. He tries to reposition, leaping backward with that majestic spark trailing off his tail like a fireworks finale. But you're not impressed. You switch back to axe form, charge, and intercept him midair like a vengeful boomerang. He lands wrong, the map shakes, and your Palico just yells, "We stay," winning from behind a rock. He gets serious. He goes full Guardian mode. You know what that means. Glowing blue cracks in the ground, lightning bolts raining from the heavens, thunder so loud your grandmother back in Kamura gets tinnitus. He's about to do the big breath. The one that turns the screen into a white flash and your dignity into a smoldering crater. You roll behind him, rev that sword, and slam an amped file into the base of his tail mid-beam. He eats the floor. You eat a well-done steak. Balance. Now he's staggering, but he's not done. Oh no, he's got that Guardian pride. He stands up, screams again, and starts channeling lightning into his throat like he's about to cough up a divine punishment. You run straight into him, not away like a tax auditor with a clipboard of death. You flip into 0-sum again, cling to his neck like a regret, and just start carving your initials into his soul. Every file you detonate causes localized thunderstorms in other zones. A great Gypceros down the hill spontaneously combusts. At this point, Fulgur Anjanath is spinning, drooling electricity and making sounds only dogs can hear. He tries one more time to tailspin you into a cart, but you just backhop like a toxic ex leaving mid-argument. You counter with a fade slash, and that tail, gone, off, flops on the ground like a fried eel. Now the terrain, glassed over from all the lightning. The air smells like burnt barbecue and existential dread. He tries to roar again, but his jaw is twitching, his breath is short, and his thunder gland is flickering like a dying smart bulb. That's your cue. Sword mode, one more discharge. You hit him in the side. He falls. You leap onto his spine and deliver an overhead finisher that could legally qualify as a war crime. File goes off, sparks fly. His soul leaves his body, and his insurance company quits. But he's still breathing, barely. He limps away, sparks coming off his haunches like an old engine trying to die with dignity. He climbs up a hill and curls up under a tree like he's about to write poetry about regret. But you don't let him have that moment. You sharpen, you walk up. You land the final combo. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, it's personal. A simple sword thrust into the ribs, file pops, done. He dies mid-side. And as the victory music plays, your switch axe quietly cools down. The storm is over. You sheathe your weapon, dust off your shoulder, and the Palico goes, did we win? Like you didn't just electrify the economy with brute force. Because the switch axe doesn't care that Fulgur Anjanath is a guardian. It doesn't care that his breath attack bends the laws of weather. It doesn't care that he shoots lightning from his mouth like a kaiju on a sugar rush. The switch axe does two things, rotate and ruin. Your whole strategy? Stay moving, stay morphing, and treat every file like it's your resume and Fulgur is HR. You send it directly into his skull with glowing emphasis. There's a moment somewhere after the third knockdown where Fulgur starts to question his life. You can see it in his eyes. He stops mid-charge, sparks fizzling around his teeth, and there's a pause, a breath, a glimmer of thought. Maybe, just maybe, this hunter is different. And that's because you are. You're not sword and shield, you're not hammer, you're not the 1,000-button rhythm game known as charge blade. You are switch axe, one button to morph, one direction, violence. Even when he's down to his last breath, he tries one final desperation spark burst, his signature. The one that turns the battlefield into a microwave of death. But you don't flinch. You time the invincibility roll so tight your controller gets goosebumps, and then it's your turn again. You launch into amped mode one last time and deliver a finishing combo that makes the Dragon Guard historians reconsider who's really guarding what. The final hit slams down, file detonates, and the resulting explosion leaves an imprint of his skeleton on the canyon wall like a nuclear shadow puppet. And just like that, the big thunder lizard goes limp. You walk away slowly. You don't even loot right away. You just need a moment to appreciate what just happened. You didn't win because you were lucky. You won because the switch axe is not a weapon. It's not even a tool. It's a philosophy. And Guardian Fulgur Anjanath just graduated from your TED Talk with honors. You ever break a Gypceros' face so hard that his light flickers like a haunted desk lamp? That's the joy of the switch axe. Every time I land a double file discharge on his forehead, it's like flipping the breaker on his whole internal operating system. You see that flash starting up and think, no, and then you just beat the flash out of him. Who else can say they uninstalled a monster's primary function mid-hunt? He's got that elastic neck too, like his head is mounted on a pool noodle. He stretches it out, whips it at you, like he's trying to initiate some kind of lizard-based joust. But I've got range, boy. I don't need to overextend. I just enter axe mode, zone him out with long, sweeping arcs, and punish every mistake like I'm grading a test with a chainsaw. And when that tongue comes out, you know the one, that weird, wet, I want a taste of your soul lick attack that has the elegance of a toad giving CPR to a microwave. I roll, charge, and slam a spinning overhead slash straight into his tonsils. Not only do I avoid the status effect, I give him something to think about the next time he wants to tongue slap somebody wearing 70 pounds of weaponized confidence. His tail slap, don't even get me started. That thing whips like he's trying to audition for a gymnastic ribbon routine at the Olympics for cryptids. But you know what switch axe does to tails? Carves them off in chunks, and not surgical ones, more like abstract art created by a drunk lumberjack. I see that tail spinning, and I just picture my next two-piece combo, ending with that slow-motion power slash that sends the tail flying into orbit like Team Rocket. Now let's talk adaptability. Gypceros thrives in caves, in swamps, in darkness, like a lizard that failed the audition for the role of Swamp Thing's sketchy cousin. But you know where the switch axe thrives? Everywhere. You can toss me into lava, into storms, into a pit of angry monkeys. I will still be morph, slashing like a gremlin doing parkour with a lightsaber. You ever seen a switch axe user trip during a morph? No, because we don't stumble, we transition. Smooth as butter on a hot pan. We glide from axe to sword like we're narrating an audiobook about pain. Gypceros flails, we flow, he shrieks, we sing. The weapon sings. Every hit on his crusty flesh produces this wet, rubbery slap sound that's just the right mix of satisfying and incriminating. And when the sword charges up fully, when your file gauge is bursting at the seams, you don't just fight anymore. You perform, you style. You begin that dance of explosions, bursts, and combos so loud and bright the Gypceros stops mid-animation like, wait, is that legal? It's not. It's a war crime in 3 time zones. But here, it's lunch. And I haven't even touched on the stamina game. Gypceros is a sprinter. He darts around, flaps, bobs, and tries to confuse you like a magician who only learned one trick and is panicking. But switch axe? We don't play the stamina game, we cheat it. We control pacing. I slow walk toward him with my axe out like I'm late for a meeting with vengeance. And when he tries to dash past me, bam, transition into sword mode mid-turn, land a spinning double hit, and punish that movement like it owed me rent. His AI doesn't know what to do. Gypceros was coded to punish complacency, but I'm not complacent. I'm overwhelming. I'm hitting buttons like a jazz pianist with a grudge, and every move leads to something flashier, something sharper, something that ends with a scream and a mushroom drop. Speaking of mushrooms, what is with the loot table? You kill this grotesque bird lizard horror, and what do you get? A rubbery hide and a stink gland. And you know what? That's fine, because I don't hunt him for the loot. I hunt him for the message. I bring a weapon bigger than his entire family tree, swing it like a war crime with a timer, and every time I beat him down, I'm letting the whole ecosystem know. Rubber is not resistance. Flash is not strategy. And the switch axe. The switch axe is not just a weapon, it's a lifestyle. You ever seen a hunter stylishly roll into a morph attack, dodge through a flash, and counter with a file detonation? That's poetry. That's jazz. That's what happens when you hand an apex predator a lightsaber on a stick and tell them, go nuts. Gypceros flails like a bird caught in a shopping bag. I twirl, slice, and explode like I'm being graded on spectacle. He has one brain cell. One. And it's devoted to either running away or flashing you in the face like an unlicensed magician. That's his whole gambit. Meanwhile, I've memorized his entire move set, dodged every angle of his dumb beak, and I've learned to time my zero-sum discharge to go off exactly when he thinks he's about to land a hit. Surprise! You're being stun-locked by 40 pounds of lightning-charged hate. And let's talk style points, because fashion is real. I show up with layered armor, a switch axe that looks like it was forged in a thunderstorm by a vengeful god, and a Palico in sunglasses riding a mecha crab. Gypceros shows up looking like a hot dog that fell in a sandbox. It's not even a contest. The flash isn't blinding, it's desperate. He's begging for attention, and I'm here to give it to him with interest in sword mode. Sometimes he flees. Oh yeah, classic Gypceros move. Oh no, I'm blinking red, time to limp awkwardly through a narrow cave tunnel while wheezing like a winded duck. And what do? I drink a stamina potion, climb onto my canine companion, and ride after him like a tax collector in blade mode. He doesn't make it more than 20 feet before he trips over his own wing joint and eats a full charged combo to the chin. And you know what? That never gets old. I could fight this glow-stick goblin 10 times a day and still find new ways to ruin his week. Sometimes I wait for him to flash and reflect it back with my layered armor gleam. Sometimes I morph slash him mid-jump just to let him know that gravity works for me. Sometimes I lure him into another monster's turf just so I can third-party him with environmental destruction, then carve him while he's still figuring out how to breathe. He doesn't even get a majestic death. No roar, no last stand, just a wet splat as he hits the ground like a beanbag chair full of bad decisions. I stand over him, sheath my axe, and say nothing because he's not worth the breath. His entire existence was a setup for my combo, and I landed it, stylishly, explosively, and with no survivors. You know you've made it when Gypceros doesn't even try to run. He sees you, sees the weapon, and goes, oh no, not again. before attempting one last limp flashbang while I'm already halfway through charging my final combo. And when it lands, it doesn't blind me. It illuminates the path to his defeat. That's the difference. He fights with desperation. I fight with dominance. He brings tricks. I bring trauma. He flashes once. I morph 4 times. He flies. I ascend. And when it's over, when he's carved up and the quest complete, I don't even cheer. I just check my switch axe for scratches, throw a stake on the fire, and wait for the next idiot to step into the arena. Because switch axe doesn't fight monsters. We erase them. The trees are suspiciously quiet. Your Palico looks up at you with dread. Why? Because somewhere nearby, a green wyvern with a grudge against ankles just tasted the wind and decided today is the day she turns you into a hot pocket. Rathian, the original airborne menace, the matriarch of mayhem. She's not just a monster, she's a walking lawsuit in scales and hatred, and you brought a switch axe to her birthday party, which is about to become her divorce hearing. The second she sees you, she screams like a car alarm made of bees. And before you can say, who gave this dragon rocket thrusters, she's already corkscreeding through the air like a flaming javelin of maternal disappointment. But that's okay. You've got range, you've got morph combos, you've got 6 feet of rotational trauma strapped to your arm. She lands with that signature, I'm back from yoga class and I hate you tail whip. You dodge roll like a lunatic with rent due, activate sword mode, and go straight for the belly. Because every Rathian thinks her midsection is sacred. But not today. Today it's just a trampoline for files. She bites, you fade slash. She tail whips. You fade slash again. At this point she's spinning in circles like she's trying to air out a fart and you're just there, morphing in and out of sword mode like a beautiful, violent butterfly. A butterfly that explodes. Then comes the poison tail. Her signature, her brand. That venomous backflip she does like a ballerina trained by scorpions. It's got startup frames longer than a bad anime intro, but she thinks it's deadly. Joke's on her. You saw it coming before you even loaded into the zone. You roll under it, whisper, "Not today, tapeworm," and retaliate with a sword mode double swing so devastating it should require a permit. Now she's mad. You see the signs, fire building in her throat. She rears back like she's about to deliver the State of the Union address. Boom, fireball, wide, hot, and full of disappointment. It hits a tree. Congratulations, Rathian, you cooked a slice moss. Meanwhile, you're behind her, already charging a wild swing into a sword morph and file dumping into her tail like it owes you zenny. She's flailing now. That tail is flopping around like it's trying to tune a radio. It's panic mode. She takes to the air again. Classic, she thinks she's safe, floating like a lawn dart with dreams. But you've got switch skills, baby. Wire, wait, no wire bugs in this game. Doesn't matter, you're the wire bug now. You launch forward with axe mode like a sentient trebuchet and bring her crashing down with a roar that says, "I studied the blade." She hits the ground like a wet sack of unresolved trauma and the switch axe is already there. Files primed. You jump into zero-sum like you're delivering a love letter with consequences. Rathian, the wyvern queen. Majestic, radiant, regal, and an absolute menace with a tail that's been banned in 17 countries for unsolicited tail flips. But that's fine, that's okay, because I didn't bring excuses to this hunt. I brought a switch axe. A weapon so gloriously indecisive, it said, why not both? And created a love child between an axe, a sword, and pure spite. Rathian walks in like she owns the joint. Wings flared, teeth bared, venom dripping like she's doing the medieval version of a perfume commercial. Rathian, by fire and screaming. And me? I'm just standing there, switch axe in hand, already halfway through a morph combo before she finishes her first roar. Because that's the power dynamic here. She screams. I respond with calibrated geometry and highly concentrated explosions. She starts aggressive, tail sweeping like she's conducting a death orchestra. And you know what the switch axe does? It disrespects geometry. That tail comes around and I slide under it like a greased eel wearing tap shoes. One dodge, two dodges, morph. Bam, zero-sum discharge into the hip bone. Now she's got questions. Was that a great sword? A long sword? A flying trebuchet? No, sweetheart. That was the warm-up. She tries fireballing. Of course she does, it's her brand. She launches a flame plume so massive it scorches the trees, the grass, my eyebrows, and the economy. But the switch axe is already on her neck, chewing through scales like it's reading a revenge poem. Sword mode whirring like a blender at full capacity. Every file discharge a small sonic event. It's not even a fight, it's an audition for dragon dentistry. Now she's airborne, that dreaded second form. She ascends like a scaly helicopter of doom. Hunters everywhere panic, but not me. No, I just drink a potion and wait. Because there's one thing Rathian never expects. A switch axe user with patience and an aerial finisher with commitment issues. She swoops, I roll. She bites, I backstep. She tail whips midair. And I rocket upwards with a mid-morph vault that lands me square on her back, hitting that spinal lottery with enough impact to rattle her ancestors. She flails, she screams. She does that panic spiral that says, I didn't sign up for this. Too bad, because the files are charged now, and that means physics is about to take a break. Zero-sum into a wing joint, sparks flying like a mech just sneezed. And as she spirals to the ground in a wingless tantrum, I descend like vengeance wearing pants. Now she's grounded and enraged. You ever seen a Rathian do that stomp thing? Like she's trying to destroy the floor for disrespecting her tail trajectory. That's when she opens up her calendar of destruction. Fireball, tail, flip, charge, nibble, tail again. She's throwing out moves like a desperate chef dumping every spice into one pot. And I'm dodging, morphing, and punishing like I'm grading her on effort. Nice flame throw, B-. This shoulder slash combo, that's an A+ in regret. She tries to backflip. That's her special move. That backwards tail slam, poisoned and smug, the attack that sends dual blade users to therapy. But the switch axe doesn't just avoid it, it anticipates it. I step forward mid-charge, slide under the tail like a tax evasion loophole, and slam a charged rising slash right into her sternum so hard the camera shakes like it owes me money. She's stunned, literally. Little stars over her head like a cartoon got bonked. I walk up, slowly, menacingly. Not because I'm trying to be scary, but because I'm charging up that amped element discharge. The full combo, the sacred sequence. She watches it happen in real time, like someone slowly drawing a sword from a stone, but the sword is pure voltage and the stone is her kidney. Boom, direct hit. Her armor cracks. Bits of worm plate shatter like ancient China meeting concrete. She screams again, less majestic this time, more, why is this happening to me? I'll tell you why, Rathian. Because you brought venom to a logic fight, and I brought thermonuclear edge technology. She retreats now, limping, face covered in soot, tail dragging like a broken antenna. I follow, calm, collected, still mid-combo because the animation doesn't stop for your feelings. She tries to rest. She curls up in her nest like maybe if I nap, he'll go away. No, girl, I'm already here, mid-switch charger, and I brought snacks. Specifically, sword mode and a bad attitude. I launch into the air like I'm being ejected from a slingshot, slam into her ribcage like a meteor with homework due, and unload a triple-file detonation that leaves craters in her will to live. And just when she thinks it's over, I reload. The files click, the blade glows, the timer resets, and she knows this isn't even my final form. This is just Tuesday. She gives one last push, one final combo. Flame, tail whip, lunge, aerial bite. She's playing the whole Rathian symphony. And I answer every note with a switch axe chord so thunderous it registers in the Elder's brainwaves. The final tail swipe comes in slow motion. You can see the particles, the sweat, the venom shimmer. And just as it's about to land, I morph forward into a rolling slash, cancel the animation with a sword combo, and detonate her shin like it's made of old fireworks. She collapses, not even dramatically, just sort of. Gives up, wings sprawled, fire sac empty, tail frizzed out like a broken toaster. The camera pans, the music fades. I walk over not to carve, but to place my switch axe gently on the ground like a warrior saying this too was art. You look down at your switch axe and whisper, "You just grounded a queen." Thank you for watching. Nigel Thornberry gets transported to another world, episode 7. With the Queen of the Sky dead, it's time for outro. But you know who's also a queen? You are, you beautiful bastard. Have a nice day.